Greetings, comrades. Welcome to All Power to the People podcast on Grown Folks Talking, Express Yourself Internet Radio via the Huddle Team app. We meet every Sunday at 12 p.m. Eastern Time. We discuss local, national, and global events that impact the material conditions of the people and provide viable solutions. We are here to find those tired of the way their lives are socially constructed. As Panthers, we use dialectic materialism. As Dr. Huey P. Newton stated, power is the ability to define phenomena and make it act in a desired manner. From combating the housing crisis to police patrols, we are the vanguard in place to serve our communities. The purpose of this program is to highlight contradictions in the electoral process, which Western culture calls politics. Politics is the struggle for resources. Participating in America's electoral process has only taken resources from the people and handed it to the oligarchs and the professional managerial class that serve them by maintaining the status quo through coercion. We know that power lies with the people, and it is our duty to organize and educate the community so that they can fight for their own liberation. So please, join us every Sunday at 12 p.m. You can join by downloading the Huddle Team app, join online, or call in. The app and joining online is free, but if you call in, standard messaging rates may apply. Links to the show will be provided in the caption. This is General Secretary Patience of the new Afrikan Black Panther Party, NAB-PP North. All power to the people.
Classroom to give somebody some higher experience in that motherfucker. You know what I'm saying? Without restrictions, because like I said, we all about selfless acts of love. We're not trying to disrupt nothing, we're just trying to create something. So we can get that. And just what we don't know, let us know. You feel me? Like, if it's a slumlord that's trying to get a contract, I know you might have to fuck with him, but let us know how he moving, so we can tell people don't fuck with him. You know, like, you need the inside job. You know what I'm saying?
So that point, if you were to go put up the nets or anything himself, is there any recourse that he needs to be prepared for? If you were
Not really. I mean, one of our
just them taking it down. You gonna give me the face of the property charge, putting up basketball hoops. Let me sign out, give me my ticket. Shit over with. I'm gonna plead guilty.
Hey, yo, I'm here with Frank and Subi. Hey. Frank and Subi gonna be heading our Panther organization out here in DR. You wanna see what Frank been up to? Frank been working with children for over 30-something years. Huh? Hola. Frank been working with children for over 30 years. Yo, look at this, man. Look at this. Look at this. Yo, children are our future. Hola, señor. Yo, children are our future. I mean, everything we do, our focus is mainly on the children, organizing and working with the children. Look at this, man. It's like a gold mine. It's a gold mine for the future. Look at this. Look at this. I mean, came out to DR, started telling them about the Pantherism, telling them what we do. So now our duty is to provide the resources while we're teaching them what Pantherism is about.
¿Quién sabe qué
What position y'all play? Pitcher? Everybody pitcher? Outfield? Center field, left field, right field? Left field? Pitcher? Second base? Who's the best out there?
¿Cuál es el mejor aquí? El mejor. Sí. They're all the best.
Everybody the best? Everybody the best?
You want to know if like those 1 year or
The whole field.
de todos?
Who's the best pitcher?
¿Cuál es el mejor pitcher de todos? Oh, yeah, from them. That's it.
Over there? That's what's up, man. That's what's up. What's his favorite? What's his best
Nah, I
pitch?
am.
What's his best pitch?
He's the best pitch.
What's his best pitch? What's his best pitch? Fastball, curveball. What's his best pitch? Curveball? You throw curveball? See? What time you play? Yeah. How old are you?
¿Cuántos años tiene? Oh, 16.
16?
Yeah.
16? I asked him if I can give them some clothes out the car.
Oh,
I said they want to get some clothes out the car.
él quiere saber si usted quiere alguna ropa.
That's what they want.
He said, if you want.
Let's go.
Go, man. We go African for his son. Yo, don't do it. Africa, you do too guys, bro.
Oh, anybody want to sneak it?
¿Quién quiere sostener?
Anybody want to sneak it? Take it. Yeah, take the sneakers. Take it. Anything. You welcome. Look in here. Look. How we gonna pass it out? Yeah, you pass the clothes out. You pass.
No, I don't pass.
So how I do it? So they just take it. So I did. Yeah, take. Just take. Just grab. Just take. Take something. Look in the bag. Get your phone.
It's my song.
What's your son?
You play.
Get some from. Get some. Let me see. Hold it out, Fabi. Mira. Hold it out. Let me see. Yeah. Hold up. You got it? You like it? There we go.
Wait, take you.
You're welcome. What's your name?
My name is Pranya.
What position you play?
Like this.
Oh, pitcher. You're the pitcher. You're a pitcher. Your children out here?
No. I'm
No.
just watching.
Oh, you just watching? You just watching too?
Like
My name Afrika. Africa. Yeah, the continent. Yeah, continent. Hold up. Huh? Yeah. I'll come every year. I'll bring more stuff. I'll come. I'll bring everything every year. Yeah, we just started. We're coming with the organization. The organization,
New African Black Panther
Party. So the Black Panther Party. So look, no politician, no rich person will take care of us. The only people that are going to take care of us is us. If we understand, understand that all we need to do is take care of each other, we're going to be good. Yeah. So you notice how all the companies, all the stores is owned by the gringos, Canada, Switzerland. We need to own it. We need to own everything so soon. You need to own stuff in Susua. You need to own Bailey's. You need to own Roomba. Yeah, we need to own all of that shit. Not nobody else. Do you understand what I'm saying? Yeah, man. But that's why I'm here. Everything we do is free. Everything is free. You don't pay. Yeah, you don't pay for nothing. I mean, this is my guy here. This is my guy, Subi. You know Subi? Yeah, this is my guy. He helped me out down here. I've been with this company for about 7 years, but it's been here since 1969. I'm the leader of the company. I'm the leader now of the organization. Yeah. So we come down. He's gonna be down here working down here in the organization for me. Yeah, he's gonna be here working here.
Also, do you visit Puerto Plata?
Yeah, I work Puerto Plata everywhere. I go everywhere. I stayed in.
I'm from Puerto Plata.
So you want to help me do this in Puerto Plata? I'm about to cut off the camera and I'm about to take your number. We're going to do the same thing. You know, the person that run the baseball, he helping me too.
I live next to baseball.
Man, what's your name, man? Tell them your name, man.
My name is Brian. I'm teacher of natural science.
Natural science?
Natural science.
Oh my God, I'm hitting a home run everywhere I go, man. Bobby, meet up. Good? You good? There we go. Biology? My God.
All power to the people. All power to the people.
All power to the people. Welcome to Grown Folks Talking. Welcome to All Power to the People on Grown Folks Talking. Express yourself. It's been a chaotic morning. Let me see. Let me try. I don't know. But anyway, we tried to go. We've been going over the Red Book. We've been going over the Red Book the last couple of weeks. I think we're on chapter 20. So that should be chapter 22. That should be about 22 weeks of going over the Red Book. We work in the communities. We work in our communities every day trying to transform the reality in our communities, the material conditions. And most of the information that we have on how to do so comes from reading from those that have been through the same experiences, our luminaries, ancestors, whatever you want to call them. We are Panthers, so by and large, the knowledge base that we use to figure out how to solve the issues in our community is from Pantherism. Pantherism includes Marxism, understanding Maoism, Leninism. So we go into all the different philosophies to understand how to change the material conditions in our community. The Red Book by Chairman Mao was all in the news a couple of months ago because of what was going on with TikTok. They were supposed to be shutting down TikTok, so everybody was going to be moving over to Red Note. So we decided, we should read the Red Book and see what's inside the Red Book, what the Red Book contains. But so we started reading the Red Book. We're in chapter 2. A couple of times I say this is my favorite chapter. I'm gonna say it again. This chapter is about 20 minutes long. We only have this video and probably one other video that we're gonna go through, and the other video is about 12 minutes long that we're gonna watch. This video right here is chapter 22, and it's about 20 minutes long. It's real deep. You have to listen to it to be able to understand it, and it explains a lot. It explains what we're going to talk about today. It explains the things that we're dealing with in our communities, but you have to pay attention. I'm gonna stop it a few times to say some words, to say some things, but it speaks for itself. I'm about to start it right now.
Chapter 22. Methods of Thinking and Methods of Work. The history of mankind is one of continuous development from the realm of necessity to the realm of freedom. This process is never-ending. In any society in which classes exist, class struggle will never end. In classless society, the struggle between the new and the old, and between truth and falsehood, will never end. In the fields of the struggle for production and scientific experiment, mankind makes constant progress and nature undergoes constant change. They never remain at the same level. Therefore, man has constantly to sum up experience and go on discovering, inventing, creating, and advancing. Ideas of stagnation, pessimism, inertia, and complacency are all wrong. They are wrong because they agree neither with the historical facts of social development over the past million years, nor with the historical facts of nature so far known to us, i.e., nature as revealed in the history of celestial bodies, the earth, life, and other natural phenomena. Natural science is one of man's weapons in his fight for freedom. For the purpose of attaining freedom in society, man must use social science to understand and change society and carry out social revolution. For the purpose of attaining freedom in the world of nature, man must use natural science to understand, conquer, and change nature, and thus attain freedom from nature. The Marxist philosophy of dialectical materialism has two outstanding characteristics. One is its class nature. It openly avows that dialectical materialism is in the service of the proletariat. The other is its practicality. It emphasizes the dependence of theory on practice, emphasizes that theory is based on practice, and in turn, serves practice. Marxist philosophy holds that the most important problem does not lie in understanding the laws of the objective world and thus being able to explain it, but in applying the knowledge of these laws actively to change the world. Where do correct ideas come from? Do they drop from the skies? No. Are they innate in the mind? No. They come from social practice, and from it alone. They come from three kinds of social practice: the struggle for production, the class struggle, and scientific experiment. It is man's social being that determines his thinking. Once the correct ideas characteristic of the advanced class are grasped by the masses, these ideas turn into a material force which changes society and changes the world. In their social practice, men engage in various kinds of struggle and gain rich experience, both from their successes and from their failures. Countless phenomena of the objective external world are reflected in a man's brain through his 5 sense organs. The organs of sight, hearing, smell, taste, and touch. At first, knowledge is perceptual. The leap to conceptual knowledge, i.e., to ideas, occurs when sufficient perceptual knowledge is accumulated. This is one process in cognition. It is the first stage in the whole process of cognition, the stage leading from objective matter to subjective consciousness, from existence to ideas. Whether or not one's consciousness or ideas, including theories, policies, plans, or measures, do correctly reflect the laws of the objective external world is not yet proved at this stage, in which it is not yet possible to ascertain whether they are correct or not. Then comes the second stage in the process of cognition, the stage leading from consciousness back to matter, from ideas back to existence, in which the knowledge gained in the first stage is applied in social practice to ascertain whether the theories, policies, plans, or measures meet with the anticipated success. Generally speaking, those that succeed are correct, and those that fail are incorrect. And this is especially true of men's struggle with nature. In social struggle, the forces representing the advanced class sometimes suffer defeat, not because their ideas are incorrect, but because, in the balance of forces engaged in struggle, they are not as powerful for the time being as the forces of reaction. They are therefore temporarily defeated, but they are bound to triumph sooner or later. Man's knowledge makes another leap through the test of practice. This leap is more important than the previous one, for it is this leap alone that can prove the correctness or incorrectness of the first leap in cognition, i.e., of the ideas, theories, policies, plans, or measures, formulated in the course of reflecting the objective external world. There is no other way of testing this truth. Often, correct knowledge can be arrived at only after many repetitions of the process, leading from matter to consciousness and then back to matter. That is, leading from practice to knowledge and then back to practice. Such is the Marxist theory of knowledge, the dialectical materialist theory of knowledge. Whoever wants to know a thing has no way of doing so except by coming into contact with it, that is, by living, practicing, in its environment. If you want knowledge, you must take part in the practice of changing reality. If you want to know the taste of a pear, you must change the pear by eating it yourself. If you want to know the theory and methods of revolution, you must take part in revolution. All genuine knowledge originates in direct experience. Knowledge begins with practice, and theoretical knowledge which is acquired through practice must then return to practice. The active function of knowledge manifests itself not only in the active leap from perceptual to rational knowledge, but, and this is more important, it must manifest itself in the leap from rational knowledge to revolutionary practice.
All power to the people. Is everybody following? Andy, you following?
I'm on it. That's one of my favorite parts, too.
Well, not because, like, I don't want it to just keep playing and, like, we're not really listening. Rodrigo, I see you out there, too. Is everybody, like, do we understand what he's talking about? Is there anything we want to talk about, we want to go over?
Well, I would just say that last part is really, really important because they want us to sort of like, don't believe your own eyes, don't believe what the reality is, believe what we're telling you. And this essentially says that every human being is equipped to look at reality and assess it. You know, are they feeding the people? Are they taking care of the people? Are they extending democracy and equality? And we can see that they're not doing any of that stuff. And yet they tell us, trust them, that that's what their intention is. And they've lied to every group that they come in contact with, you know. So the whole fabric of the ruling class position is a series and a compounding of lies, you know.
All power to the people. No, I know. No, I'm with you. Yeah, and it's saying like you can't just go by theory. You have to see it in practice. You got to see it in practice, and then after you see it in practice, I mean, you got to make sure that practice It's representing that theory that you had. I mean, it's like, this is really deep because it goes into how people think, how you should think, how you should reason, using science to be able to make an analysis. Now, I mean, we have to speak about this because you can't have an organization and people don't know how to come to a conclusion or how to come to an analysis, and we're just making stuff up. Everybody just making up whatever they want to make up. We have to understand and know how to think. And it's just not about thinking. It's about putting those theories and those ideas into practice, to see if they work.
It is well known that when you do anything, unless you understand its actual circumstances, its nature, and its relations to other things, you will not know the laws governing it, or know how to do it.
Now, I'm gonna bring this back real quick.
It is well known that when you do anything, unless you understand its actual circumstances, its nature, and its relations to other things, you will not know the laws governing it.
Like right there, like when we're talking about Israel, when we're talking about what's going on in Palestine, if you just believe that everything is under the control of Netanyahu is who you need to speak to. If you could just change the mind of Netanyahu, you could change everything. If you go to the politicians and you change the politicians' minds, you would change everything. If you go with that mindset, then you have no idea what you're talking about. Because Netanyahu is not the one that's funding, that's in charge, that's where the ideas, where the reason for why they're at war with Gaza is going on. It doesn't come from there. It comes from somewhere else. Who is sponsoring Netanyahu? Who is giving them the money? Who is financially backing them? Because that's who is determining what's going on over there. And if you don't never get to the what's their name? All the people that's funding them, they fund presidents over here too. I can't even think about think of his name, man.
It's AIPAC.
No, AIPAC, but there's people that's funding AIPAC. There's it's a Jewish dude, man. I can't even think of his name. He funded.
Is it Soros?
You say what?
Is it Soros?
Soros, he funds some people too. But there's somebody that's funding
Koch brothers.
I think one of them dead already. But you see, look, that's the problem. We really don't talk about the faces behind these people, the people that's holding the bag. I mean, if I think about it long enough, if I look at my phone, I'm going to come up with the person's name. But he's funding Trump campaign too. I'm talking about these are people that have enough money for them to fund Donald Trump. Because like people think Trump is making the decisions. Trump don't make no decisions. He's making decisions according to the people that's backing him, the people that's funded him. Adelson. What's his look up his whole name. Look him up while I'm talking, General Secretary, and tell us a little bit who Adelson is. But these people have billions, and they're able to fund these people and fund these wars for them to get the oil, to get all the things that they're trying to get from that space. Because this is not about religion. It's not about brown people hating other people. It's about imperialism. That's who our enemy is, the imperialists, the people that's backing the politicians that are in place to make it look like everything, like we have a voice, like they're here working for us. The people that created that system, that's who you're really at war with. They're running dogs, the politician, all these people. I mean, like you have to deal with them. But the people that you're really at war with is the people that's funding them.
There's Sheldon and Miriam Alderson. They are mega donors who are pro-Israel and pro-genocide.
So if these are the people that are backing Netanyahu and the money is coming from them, you could say what you want about Netanyahu all day. It doesn't matter because the Adelsons, the Soros, all these people, they're the ones that control who goes into The Hague, who goes into what the United Nations do, what all these nations do. The people with the money, the money bag holders, these are the ones that are really in charge of everything. So if you go into the issue and you're talking about the politician and you're focused on the politician, putting pressure on the politician, and you're not dealing with what's really at hand, what the issue really is, the people that you really need to deal with, you jerking wreck. Let me see how he said it on here. He didn't say you jerking wreck. I'm going to bring it back a little bit. Let's see what they said on here.
But, and this is more important, it must manifest itself in the leap from rational knowledge to revolutionary practice. It is well known that when you do anything, unless you understand its actual circumstances, its nature, and its relations to other things, you will not know the laws governing it.
That's what I wanted to say. You will not know the laws governing it. No matter what you do, if you don't understand the whole in totality, if you don't understand it, if you can't see the forest from the trees or whatever, however they say that saying, you will not understand, or you will not be able to accomplish whatever you're accomplishing, because you're not dealing with it from the root. I mean, but you see, like, we're gonna go into a whole different part, because we gotta talk about secondary and anyway, we're gonna go into it.
Or know how to do it, or be able to do it well. If a man wants to succeed in his work, that is, to achieve the anticipated results, he must bring his ideas into correspondence with the laws of the objective external world. If they do not correspond, he will fail in his practice. After he fails, he draws his lessons, corrects his ideas to make them correspond to the laws of the external world, and can thus turn failure into success. This is what is meant by failure is the mother of success, and a fall into the pit, a gain in your wit. We are Marxists, and Marxism teaches that in our approach to a problem, we should start from objective facts, not from abstract definitions, and that we should derive our guiding principles, policies, and measures from an analysis of these facts. The most fundamental method of work which all communists must firmly bear in mind is to determine our working policies according to actual conditions. When we study the causes of the mistakes we have made, we find that they all arose because we departed from the actual situation at a given time and place, and were subjective in determining our working policies. Idealism and metaphysics are the easiest things in the world, because people can talk as much nonsense as they like without basing it on an objective reality or having it tested against reality. Materialism and dialectics, on the other hand, need effort. They must be based on and tested by objective reality. Unless one makes the effort, one is liable to slip into idealism and metaphysics.
Yeah, that idealism and metaphysics. We don't deal with that as Panthers. As Panthers, we don't deal with idealism. We don't deal with metaphysics, which is religion. We don't use religion to understand the reality in front of us. We use scientific evidence. That's what he's talking about now. Dialectic materialism. That's scientific evidence, understanding the world through scientific methods. That's what he's talking about, using social science to be able to understand the social world, to be able to use your mind to understand the social world, not just to make things up or to use religious dogma to explain with the phenomena that's in front of you.
When we look at a thing, we must examine its essence and treat its appearance merely as an usher at the threshold. And only we cross the threshold. We must grasp the essence of the thing. This is the only reliable and scientific method of analysis. The fundamental cause of the development of a thing is not external, but internal. It lies in the contradictoriness within the thing.
No, let's stop here. Remember, we're reading Chairman Mao. We're reading the Rare Book by Chairman Mao, and these are advice on how for us to deal with imperialism, to survive imperialism. What is imperialism? Gentrification, homelessness, all these people outside the streets not having enough money to eat themselves. You got to get 3 jobs to survive. That's what we're talking about. How do you survive that? And like, let's listen to this right here, what Mao said. I'm about to go back a few seconds again because I need you to grasp this.
Makes the effort, one is liable to slip into idealism and metaphysics. When we look at a thing, we must examine its essence.
When we look at a thing, we must examine the essence. And, oh my God.
Of these facts. The most fundamental method of work which all communists must firmly bear in mind is to determine our working policies according to actual conditions. You will not know the laws governing it, or know how to do it, or be able to do it well. If a man wants to succeed in his work, that is, to achieve the anticipated results, he must bring his ideas into correspondence with the laws of the objective external world.
I'm trying to follow
if they do not correspond, he will fail in his practice. After he fails, he draws his lessons, corrects his ideas to make them correspond to the laws of the external world, and can thus turn failure into success. This is what is meant by failure is the mother of success, and a fall into the pit, a gain in your wit. We are Marxists, And Marxism teaches that in our approach to a problem, we should start from objective facts, not from abstract definitions, and that we should derive our guiding principles, policies, and measures from an analysis of these facts. The most fundamental method of work which all communists must firmly bear in mind is to determine our working policies according to actual conditions. When we study the causes of the mistakes we have made, we find that they all arose because we departed from the actual situation at a given time and place, and were subjective in determining our working policies. Idealism and metaphysics are the easiest things in the world, because people can talk as much nonsense as they like without basing it on an objective reality or having it tested against reality. Materialism and dialectics, on the other hand, need effort. They must be based on and tested by objective reality. Unless one makes the effort, one is liable to slip into idealism and metaphysics. When we look at a thing, we must examine its essence and treat its appearance merely as an usher at the threshold. And only we cross the threshold. We must grasp the essence of the thing. This is the only reliable and scientific method of analysis.
And that's what he's talking about. You must grasp the essence of a thing, all of it. You can't just look from one perspective on one side of it and make your decision from that side. You must look at the total, the whole thing. Like what I was talking about with the politicians and those that are sponsoring them. If you're just looking at the politicians, you're not looking at the essence of the whole thing, why the issue is going on, what the problem is. You're not thinking about imperialism.
The fundamental cause of the development of a thing is not external, but internal.
That's right there. The fundamental cause of the development of a thing is not external, but internal. Internal. You have to work on it internally first. Everything external is secondary. I mean, but the main thing is inside. Like, so what do they mean by that? Like, as a community, whatever forces come out of that community and exploit the community, the issue is internal first. Because if everything was right internally, then the external would not be able to do anything. We will be able to deal with it. We'll be able to fight back. But first, you have to deal with it internally first.
It lies in the contradictoriness within the thing. This internal contradiction exists in every single thing, hence its motion and development. Contradictoriness within a thing is the fundamental cause of its development, while its interrelations and interactions with other things are secondary causes. It, materialist dialectics, holds that external causes are the condition of change, and internal causes are the basis of change, and that external causes become operative through internal causes. In a suitable temperature, an egg changes into a chicken, but no temperature can change a stone into a chicken, because each has a different basis. Marxist philosophy holds that the law of the unity of opposites is the fundamental law of the universe. This law operates universally, whether in the natural world, in human society, or in man's thinking. Between the opposites in a contradiction, there is at once unity and struggle, and it is this that impels things to move and change. Contradictions exist everywhere, but they differ in accordance with the different nature of different things. In any given phenomenon or thing, the unity of opposites is conditional, temporary, and transitory, and hence relative, whereas the struggles of opposites is absolute. The analytical method is dialectical. By analysis, we mean analyzing the contradictions in things. And sound analysis is impossible without intimate knowledge of life and without real understanding of the pertinent contradictions. Concrete analysis of concrete conditions, Lenin said, is the most essential thing in Marxism, the living soul of Marxism. Lacking an analytical approach, many of our comrades do not want to go deeply into complex matters, to analyze and study them over and over again, but like to draw simple conclusions which are either absolutely affirmative or absolutely negative. From now on, we should remedy this state of affairs. And the way these comrades look at problems is wrong. They do not look at the essential or main aspects, but emphasize the non-essential or minor ones. It should be pointed out that these non-essential or minor aspects must not be overlooked and must be dealt with one by one, but they should not be taken as the essential or main aspects, or we will lose our bearings. In this world, things are complicated and are decided by many factors. We should look at problems from different aspects, not from just one. Only those who are subjective, one-sided and superficial in their approach to problems, will smugly issue orders or directives the moment they arrive on the scene, without considering the circumstances, without viewing things in their totality, their history, and their present state as a whole, and without getting to the essence of things, their nature and the internal relations between one thing and another. Such people are bound to trip and fall. In studying a problem, we must shun subjectivity, one-sidedness, and superficiality. To be subjective means not to look at problems objectively. That is, not to use the materialist viewpoint in looking at problems. I have discussed this in my essay on practice. To be one-sided means not to look at problems all-sidedly, or it may be called seeing the part but not the whole, seeing the trees but not the forest. That way, it is impossible to find the method for resolving a contradiction. It is impossible to accomplish the task of the revolution, to carry out assignments well, or to develop inter-party ideological struggle correctly. When Sun Tzu said in discussing military science, "Know the enemy and know yourself, and you can fight 100 battles with no danger of defeat," he was referring to the two sides in a battle. Wei Qing of the Tang Dynasty also understood the error of one-sidedness when he said, "Listen to both sides, and you will be enlightened. Heed only one side, and you will be benighted." But our comrades often look at problems one-sidedly, and so they often run into snags. Lenin said, "In order really to know an object, we must embrace, study all its sides, all connections and mediations. We shall never achieve this completely, but the demand for all-sidedness is a safeguard against mistakes and rigidity." We should remember his words. To be superficial means to consider neither the characteristics of a contradiction in its totality, nor the characteristics of each of its aspects. It means to deny the necessity for probing deeply into a thing and minutely studying the characteristics of its contradiction, but instead, merely to look from afar and, after glimpsing through the rough outline, immediately to try to resolve the contradiction, to answer a question, settle a dispute, handle work, or direct a military operation. This way of doing things is bound to lead to trouble.
That's why you have philosophies. That's why you have philosophies and schools of thought. Those philosophies and those schools of thought are scientifically studied methods and ways on how to do things. So when somebody says, like, if Malcolm X says, "I'm a black nationalist," and then he goes on, because I'm going to play the audio in a little bit, he goes on to explain what it means to be a black nationalist, that all the black people that live in that community should control the institutions in that community. That is a philosophy that he is following. He is not saying all the black people in that community should assimilate into the government or into the institutions that the government have created, that the Shadu Edelson, whatever his name is, the institution that they have created in the community for us to go through. Malcolm is saying, no, scientifically, we should separate and build our own institutions. That is what it means to be a black nationalist. This was in the 60s and the 50s when he was speaking, when he was living in the material conditions he was dealing with. His philosophy said we must separate and build our own institutions. That don't mean separate from white people, separate from this person. You building your own institutions ensures you control your destiny. You teach your children. You have means and ways to be able to protect and secure yourself from one generation to the other. That's what institutions are for. But it all starts from philosophy, how you think. Because remember, this chapter is about how you think, how you work. I mean, and it's telling you, do not use metaphysics, do not use idealism. Use scientific methods to be able to reach an analysis. That is what he's explaining to you in this chapter.
To be one-sided and superficial is at the same time to be subjective. For all objective things are actually interconnected and are governed by inner laws. But instead of undertaking the task of reflecting things as they really are, some people only look at things one-sidedly or superficially and know neither their interconnections nor their inner laws, and so their method is subjectivist. One-sidedness means thinking in terms of absolutes, that is, a metaphysical approach to problems. In the appraisal of our work, it is one-sided to regard everything either as all positive or as all negative. To regard everything as positive is to see only the good and not the bad, and to tolerate only praise and no criticism. To talk as though our work is good in every aspect is at variance with the facts. It is not true that everything is good. There are still shortcomings and mistakes.
That's like me saying there's nothing wrong with Pantherism. Like if you become, everybody, all the Panther organization, everything, everybody come up with their own Panther organization, and they do things the way they want to do it. No, we not right. Just because that person's a Panther, that don't mean what they're doing is right. They doing what they want to do. They may not be following what Pantherism really says you should do. What UEP doing, they may not follow none of that. They just wake up one day, just call themselves Panthers and just run around saying they're Panthers. I mean, like most of the time you hear people talk about what Russia did with communism, how Russia did. These are all individuals. Those are all individual people doing what they want to do, and they call it Marxism. That don't mean they have to go by the laws of Marxism. You see, to us, that's what separates us from other organizations. We go by what the books say you should do. My whole life, I always wondered how people can call themselves Christians and they don't do what the Bible tells them to do. They don't participate. They don't follow the rules, the doctrines in the book. And to me, you're not really a Christian. You're not really a Muslim if you don't follow the doctrines. You could say all you want to say, but you are what you do. And if the book is telling you to do one thing, you're doing another, you're not really a Christian. As Panthers, if I'm supposed to be a Marxist, I'm supposed to study Marxism, I'm supposed to be a Maoist, if I'm not following what they're telling us, what they say we should do, then I can't call myself that. And it's not all perfect, because there's people that can claim that they're Marxists, but they're lying. They're not. They don't do Marxist stuff. We've been around them. We've tried to build organizations with all these different organizations. We're trying to have solidarity, and then you come to find out that these people really don't believe in the stuff that they're saying they believe in. For whatever reason they're doing it, for social credibility, whatever, ego reasons. I don't know why they be doing what they're doing, because this is a lot of work. And they do all this work just to be frightened. I don't have time for that. I don't have the patience.
But neither is it true that everything is bad, and that, too, is at variance with the facts. Here analysis is necessary. To negate everything is to think, without having made any analysis, that nothing has been done well and that the great work of socialist construction, the great struggle in which hundreds of millions of people are participating, is a complete mess with nothing in it worth commending. Although there is a difference between the many people who hold such views and those who are hostile to the socialist system, these views are very mistaken and harmful and can only dishearten people. It is wrong to appraise our work either from the viewpoint that everything is positive or from the viewpoint that everything is negative. In approaching a problem, a Marxist should see the whole as well as the parts. A frog in a well says, "The sky is no bigger than the mouth of the well." That is untrue, for the sky is not just the size of the mouth of the well. If it said, "A part of the sky is the size of the mouth of a well," that would be true, for it tallies with the facts. We must learn to look at problems all-sidedly, seeing the reverse as well as the obverse side of things. In given conditions, a bad thing can lead to good results, and a good thing to bad results. While we recognize that in the general development of history, the material determines the mental, and social being determines social consciousness, we also, and indeed must, recognize the reaction of mental on material things, of social consciousness on social being, and of the superstructure on the economic base. This does not go against materialism. On the contrary, it avoids mechanical materialism and firmly upholds dialectical materialism. In seeking victory, those who direct a war cannot overstep the limitations imposed by the objective conditions. Within these limitations, however, they can and must play a dynamic role in striving for victory. The stage of action for commanders in a war must be built upon objective possibilities, but on that stage, they can direct the performance of many a drama, full of sound and color, power and grandeur. People must adapt their thinking to the changed conditions. Of course, no one should go off into wild flights of fancy or make plans of action unwarranted by the objective situation, or stretch for the impossible. The problem today, however, is that rightist conservative thinking is still causing mischief in many spheres and preventing the work in these spheres from keeping pace with the development of the objective situation. The present problem is that many people consider it impossible to accomplish things which could be accomplished if they exerted themselves. We should always use our brains and think everything over carefully. A common saying goes, knit your brows and you will hit upon a stratagem. In other words, much thinking yields wisdom. In order to get rid of the blindness which exists to a serious extent in our party, we must encourage our comrades to think, to learn the method of analysis, and to cultivate the habit of analysis. If in any process there are a number of contradictions, one of them must be the principal contradiction playing the leading and decisive role, while the rest occupy a secondary and subordinate position. Therefore, in studying any complex process in which there are two or more contradictions, we must devote every effort to finding its principal contradiction. Once this principal contradiction is grasped, all problems can be readily solved. Of the two contradictory aspects, one must be principal and the other secondary. The principal aspect is the one playing the lead.
Like, I need you to remember this part right here, where you're talking about the principal and the secondary contradictions. I need you to remember this part right here. It goes into what we're about to talk about next.
All problems can be readily solved. Of the two contradictory aspects, one must be principal and the other secondary. The principal aspect is the one playing the leading role in the contradiction. The nature of a thing is determined mainly by the principal aspect of a contradiction, the aspect which has gained the dominant position. But this situation is not static. The principal and the non-principal aspects of a contradiction transform themselves into each other, and the nature of the thing changes accordingly. It is not enough to set tasks. We must also solve the problem of the methods for carrying them out. If our task is to cross a river, we cannot cross it without a bridge or a boat, unless the bridge or boat problem is solved. It is idle to speak of crossing the river. Unless the problem of method is solved, talk about the task is useless.
Like, just think about that, yo. Like, you need to cross the river. So, like, you said, like, that's the principal task. I mean, that you need to cross the river. But if you don't have a way to cross the river, you're never going to cross the river. So there's no need to talk about crossing the river unless you come up with a way to cross that river. So that principle becomes the secondary. Now you have to come up with another principle. The principle, like getting that boat that's going to help you get from one side of the river to the other side. So now, even though crossing the river was the principle, now the principle really is getting that boat to be able to cross over. So you got the secondary, and you understand what I'm saying. So now you have to go get the boat to be able to cross over. But that don't mean you still don't have to cross that river. You still got to cross that river. After you get the boat, then you cross the river.
Any task, if no general and widespread call is issued, the broad masses cannot be mobilized for action. But if persons in leading positions confine themselves to a general call, if they do not personally, in some of the organizations, go deeply and concrete into the work called for, make a breakthrough at some single point, gain experience and use this experience for guiding other units, then they will have no way of testing the correctness or of enriching the content of their general call. And there is the danger that nothing may come of it. No one in a leading position is competent to give general guidance to all the units unless he derives concrete experience from particular individuals and events in particular subordinate units. This method must be promoted everywhere so that leading cadres at all levels learn to apply it. In any given place, there cannot be a number of central tasks at the same time. At any one time, there can only be one central task, supplemented by other tasks of a second or third order of importance. Consequently, the person with overall responsibility in the locality must take into account the history and circumstances of the struggle there and put the different tasks in their proper order. He should not act upon each instruction as it comes from the higher organization without any planning of his own, and thereby create a multitude of central tasks in a state of confusion and disorder. Nor should a higher organization simultaneously assign many tasks to a lower organization without indicating their relative importance and urgency, or without specifying which is central. For that will lead to confusion in the steps to be taken by the lower organizations in their work, and thus no definite results will be achieved. It is part of the art of leadership to take the whole situation into account and plan accordingly in the light of the historical conditions and existing circumstances of each locality. Decide correctly on the center of gravity and the sequence of the work for each period. Steadfastly carry through the decision and make sure that definite results are achieved. It, a regional or sub-regional bureau of the Central Committee of the party, should constantly have a grip on the progress of the work, exchange experience, and correct mistakes. It should not wait several months, half a year, or a year before holding summing up meetings for a general checkup and a general correction of mistakes. Waiting leads to great loss, while correcting mistakes as soon as they occur reduces loss. Don't wait until problems pile up and cause a lot of trouble before trying to solve them. Leaders must march ahead of the movement, not lag behind it. What we need is an enthusiastic but calm state of mind, and intense but orderly work.
All power to the people. And intense but orderly work. Now, like I was having this conversation with the comrades yesterday in our meeting. Like everything that we're doing a lot, but it has to be disciplined. It has to be disciplined in what we're doing. We can't just be everywhere. You can't be everywhere. You have to be disciplined and stay disciplined. It's a way of life on what we're doing. It's a way of life. Like this morning when we woke up, all our social media pages were down. The social media pages were down, and it's because they said the reason why for General Secretary, why did they say they took the pages down?
It said fraud, scams, and deceptive practices.
Fraud, scam, and deceptive practices. That's why they took our social media pages down. Like, when we saw that, you can't stop what you're doing. We still got to do the show. We still have to continue doing everything that we're doing. We were going to just get new social media pages to try to get the information out. I mean, you don't let them stop what you're doing. I mean, but while we were sitting here, while we was listening to this, we got the social media pages back. I don't know what they're doing. I don't know what's going on. I don't know what's going back and forth. How they already made up their mind already that we not frauds no more. But we not frauds no more, so we got the page back. I mean, so it is what it is. But you got to deal with all of those things. And the reason why, it's crazy. It's like every chapter that we listen to always has something to do with whatever we want to talk about that week or whatever we're going to talk about. The way of thinking, how you think, how you make decisions, how the internal contradictions is what affects a thing, not the outside contradiction, not what comes from the outside.
Chairman,
Go ahead.
I think the reason why all these things always line up, because the problem never changes, so the solution will remain the same. So that's why it seems to always fit with whatever's going on in current times. Because these are the same problems.
Every week it fit. Is Berkeley here? Is Berkeley here?
I'm looking now.
All right, so like you heard what Ma was just saying just now. Ma was saying like you got to put things into practice. Now listen to this guy right here, right? He says if you put, I think, lemon or some on your hands, the crabs will not bite you because, whatever he says, he's going to give you his reasons why. And then he's going to put that into practice. So everything that Mao just said just now, that we just said for the 20 minutes reading in chapter 2, we about to watch him give us a lesson in that.
If you pour vinegar over your hands or over your arms on any kind of component of your skin, because of the smell and the vapor of the vinegar that it gives off, it is actually a deterrent to the crabs, and they won't bite. Watch.
Hey, yo, nah. But that's what Mao was talking about. Like, if you have a theory, you have to put it in practice. And if it doesn't work, then you got to change it. Hey, yo, that theory don't work. That vinegar don't work. I'm never putting vinegar on me talking about the crab is not going to bite me. Like, I know. You saw him. He put it right into practice. He put it right into practice. And look at him. It didn't work. That's what Ma was talking about. You have to put these theories, these ideas into practice and see how they work out. The video I'm about to play, and that's another thing. I know people don't want to go here, but I'm going to go here, and it's open to discussion. Anybody can say what they want to say, what they're thinking about this, but I'm about to go here. Oftentimes, the children of revolutionaries are useless. They're useless and they're hopeless. They're worthless. Like, you could have somebody like Malcolm X, one of the most brilliant people that ever walked this planet, and you look at his children and you see nothing but neoliberals. Because, like, by and large, the father didn't raise his children. The father, they died. Well, Malcolm died at 39. King too, somewhere around at 39, 36, somewhere around. They were there, like, they wasn't there to raise their children. They didn't instill in them what they believed. And you see these children today, they're all, even the King children, useless, just useless people. Like, you hear Malcolm say we must separate, we must build our own institutions. And you listen to their children, their offsprings. And these people are assimilationists. They want to assimilate into imperialism. They're trying to build relationships with the same governments that killed their parents. That is deep. That is deep. Look at the, like, any of the Malcolm and any of the King children, are they all against the government that killed their parents? All they be trying to do is get money from the government. They're trying to find ways to get money, to get settlements, to get this, to get that, and then they turn their parents' legacy into a nonprofit. Ways for them to make money. Yo, we went, what was it? I think Tennessee. We went to Tennessee or somewhere, and they had the Dr. King something. Wait, where was it at? Hey, General Sec, do you remember where we went?
We went to the museum, the African Museum in Tennessee.
Where was that? That was in Tennessee?
I think it was Tennessee or Memphis. I don't know, one of them. But wherever the hotel is that they killed King, that's what we saw too.
Yeah, we went there, but you had to pay. If you want to go in there to go see the stuff in there, you had to pay. So, like, the first thing that came in my mind was, like, what if you can't afford to pay? The people that ride, they can't afford to pay. So they're not going to get access to this knowledge because they can't afford to pay whatever it was. It was a crazy amount, too. But they didn't even own it. The family didn't even own it. It was a corporation. It was a white corporation. It was a white corporation that owned it. And we had to pay a white corporation to go inside. Yo, we didn't go. I'm not paying my money to go. Other people that had went down there, they paid their money, they went in. But the children that we came with, like, y'all crazy. Like, that, it made no sense at all. But these children be problematic. So it's been 100 years. If Malcolm was still alive, he would have turned to 100 last week. So they had something at the little center that they have, that his family had for him. And they brought all these managerial sellouts. Like, Mao was talking about the internal contradictions. Like, why right now I'm just talking about black people. For the next couple of minutes, I'm just talking about black people. Why are we still at the bottom in society? Why are our communities, even though you have people that look like us in charge, why are we still dealing with the same social ills for like 60 years now? And by and large, it has to do with the internal contradictions, because the people that are speaking for us, they're not speaking for us. These are collaborators. The entire managerial class does not speak for black people or does not speak for the people. They speak for empire. That's who the managerial class, whether you're white, whether they're Spanish, whether they're celebrities, whether they're entertainers, whether they're comedians, everything they do is for imperialism. It is not for the masses of the people. So they invited them,
Chairman, have you heard?
Go ahead.
Basil, how are you?
Outstanding. How you doing, Basil?
I'm great. I just came back from Africa. I was in Cairo for about 2 weeks.
So check it, right? So you in Cairo for 2 weeks. Hey, yo, you got WhatsApp?
No, I probably do. Why, you want me to send you some pictures?
No, I wanted you to go live with us from Cairo.
Oh.
Yeah, I wanted to go because we talked about you last week. We was like, we didn't see Babes in a while.
Oh, no, yeah. Oh, my God, it's wonderful. But I didn't call you to talk about that. I'll talk about that later.
Go ahead.
Talking about, I have to put my 2 cents in, right? You were talking about how useless these revolutionary children are, right? Now, I beg to differ because I do believe you have children, I have children. You want your children to be successful. If they don't follow in your footsteps, that's okay because they have their own identity. Just like with the pastor. I remember at church, right? And he was the worst kid ever. He was just, everybody like, why is Pastor so-and-so child? And them girls are they're just terrible because they are under so much scrutiny to be like them. Don't you want your own identity? Do you walk in the shadows of your dad? Or your mom? You want some qualities like them, but they have to have their own individual. I look at the People's Organization for Progress, right? And I look at Larry Ham's children. I never really see them, and it's funny that you're talking about that. Or Larry Adams, L.A., the chairperson, never saw his children in the organization whatsoever. And I think to myself, that's interesting that none of them children are involved in what he's involved in. But then again, I have to think about, can't they have their own identity and do what they want to do? Why should they follow in the footsteps of their parents? I mean, when we look at Dr. King's children, one of them is a reverend, the other one whatever, but they got to have their own identity. Don't you think so? Do you really want your son to step up to your job and do what you do if he doesn't want to, Chairman?
All power to the people. Hey, yo, I want to go slow because we're talking here and we're talking about, we read him out and we're talking about the whole point, the whole reason why we're here is about understanding the material conditions that we deal with and how you solve them and how we fix them. That's why we're here. When you have a family, you're supposed to teach your family how to survive in this world. And it goes through your political philosophy on what you believe, on how you believe the world is constituted and how they will survive that world. It is our duty to teach our children from birth how to survive this world and to teach it to them scientifically, not to guess, not to use metaphysical, religious, ideal, dogmatic. No, scientifically, what they're dealing with. And that's what the struggle is. From generation to generation, we carry the mantle. You cannot pass the mantle on to somebody that rejects the teachings that you have given them, that you have laid down for them to be able to survive in this world. They reject those teachings and they go into the camp of the enemy, the people that's oppressing you, the people that's oppressing all of us. And they go into their camp and they work for them to maintain their system. Those children should be bastards. They're worthless to our people. They're worthless to our struggle. And this, the same thing I'm saying here. My children are on here. They're on this broadcast right here. Our children are part of everything we do, are part of the struggle. This is not a game to us. We believe it's existential. If we don't do what we supposed to do, what we need to do, we will not survive. It is not.
I also want to add when you're done, Chairman.
Yeah, it is not how we feel or doing this, doing. Yo, Larry Ham, children not participating and being part of what he's trying to get everybody else to believe and do speaks volumes about him and what he's doing. It speaks volumes. I mean, I haven't gone into his family to find out what they do, but they all went to school, Ivy League school. They're in New York somewhere working in these corporations, the same corporations that he's running around talking about oppressing people. His children are working in them. Then they don't, you see, we're all on the plantation. We all have to get jobs on the plantation. So his children can have jobs in those corporations. But what are they doing for the Underground Railroad? What are they doing to build our liberation? Larry Ham will talk about fascism and all of this. What are his children doing to build upon the legacy that he left, that Malcolm, that King, that everybody that died before him fighting these imperialism. What are they doing to continue that struggle? If they're doing nothing, then you're not even supposed to be a leader in the community.
I beg to differ because I figure like this. In the Bible it says God gave us free will.
Pause.
The free will.
But pause. Listen. But listen, no, because we don't go by the Bible.
Well, let's not even go by the Bible.
Listen,
it has to be, it's funny. It's funny you say that. Just give me one minute. It's funny you say that. We got a grant, right? Pop got a grant. And the grant was to try to get more members on Pop's roster. And I said, listen, we're not going to buy members. You don't buy members. Those people who are in the People's Organization for Progress and any other organization here in America, they're there because they want to be there. They're not there to be brought. I said, we're not going to spend money on trying to entice somebody because just like your wife loves you, you don't buy her love. My husband don't buy my love. I mean, yes, he buys me nice things, but in the overall scope of things, I love him of free will. Yes. Okay, not because he's going to continue whatever. So this is what I'm saying. If you don't get let's say for instance, somebody's in your organization, Chairman Africa, who maybe don't have the qualities that you would want your son to have, but is of a different whatever, and it wants to do. Would you pick your son over someone else who's probably more able and like-minded, what you would think that can run your organization, or would you, out of nepotism, pick him because he's your son? Because I think that in any organization, you have to want the will to do it. That's how you maintain. We don't get paid for what we do. People in your organization don't get paid for what they do. They do it because they want to do it. Just like Malcolm X. I mean, not Malcolm X. And that organization, Malcolm was chosen. He wasn't the son of anybody. That man came out of nowhere and grew to what he was. So I think it's because maybe they have the will, your family have the will to do so. But you still love them, you still respect them, you still want them to be a decent human being.
I wouldn't. If my son went against what we were teaching him on how to survive in this world, and he started doing, and he became a cop. And he became a politician, a crooked politician. He did everything opposite from what we taught him. There's no reason for me to speak to him. And that goes to what the question you just asked me. You said, if your son is in the group and somebody else is more able, would you go with your son? No, I wouldn't go with my son. Because as Panthers, that is not who we are. That is not what the ideals we're supposed to live up to. And earlier I was speaking and I said, everybody starts Panther group. It's a whole bunch of different Panther groups. Most of them don't go by what we're supposed to do. They do their own thing. They make up their own rules. The difference between us and everybody else, we read the books and we follow what the books, what our ancestors told us to do. I mean, so when we raise our children or anybody that's part of our organization, if they're not following the doctrine on what we're supposed to be doing, then they shouldn't even be part of what we are doing, because you're doing your own thing. And if you're raising your children and you call yourself a revolutionary and you would die for the revolution, you would die for the people, and you have your children working on the other side, working with the enemy, thinking like the enemy. These are the children, the people that you groomed in your own home. You have no right to stand in front of anybody and say that you're a leader. And most of these organizations, they do buy members. Where that grant money come from? Because whoever gives you that grant money, they by and large control you. Because if you don't do what they want you to do, the stipulations that they put in there, they're gonna pull their grant funding, and then people gonna be running around and talking about something. Yo, we need this grant to do this, to do that. What you need a grant to do anything for? The people need help. The people are suffering. The people are begging for leadership. You don't need no grants to go do the work for the people. But the reason why you need grants, because the organization is fake. But General Secretary Patience, what you was about to say?
There's a difference between your children growing up, having their own identity and whatnot. That's totally different from you being a revolutionary that have children and you're teaching them in the struggle and they grow up to be, like the chairman said, the opposite. And even if they do turn out to work in those institutions, what is the work they're doing for the Underground Railroad? Because I don't even know what his kids look like, but I'm pretty sure when he's running for office, they're all in. But I don't know if they're all in when he's out there fighting against so-called, fascism and having his Monday marches and all that stuff. But I'm pretty sure when he's trying to be a senator or a congressperson, he can get all the support he needs from them. So, yeah.
Yeah, but like, no, I understand exactly what you're saying. I mean, it's like if you don't
Jerry,
have...
you mean to tell me you wouldn't love your son if he was a cop? Now, come on now. Now, I can't believe you that hard. Oh, hell no. You're going to love your son unconditionally if he decides he want to be a cop and kick some white people's asses.
No, that's not.
No, when you become a cop, you're not kicking. No, check this out. When you become a cop, you're not there to kick white people's asses. You're there to...
He might be that type of person. He may be that one who makes all the difference.
But even if he was that person, then he would be going against what we taught him.
And you wouldn't love him.
Yeah, no, like, you got to listen to me. You got to listen. I need you to listen.
I'm talking about a father's love. I ain't talking about that other stuff.
No. I need you to listen to me. I would never love a traitor. I don't care if they're my son. If my son is a rapist, I wouldn't love him, yo. If my son is going around brutalizing our people, it doesn't work that way. Like, love it just because I love you, just because you're my blood. I don't love people just because they're my blood. It's because of what they do, who they are, the content of their character, the kind of person that they are. That's, like, you could be my brother, sibling, and I don't talk to you. If you're a messed up person, if you don't care about the people, if you're not even in my circle, if you're not in my circle doing the work that we do all the time, I won't even have time to see you and talk to you. I mean, if my son became a cop, because my son, like I said, and I need you and everybody else to listen, because I've been thinking people really don't understand what I'm saying. The whole planet, the United States, we are all on the plantation. We are all ruled by imperialists. It doesn't matter what job you have. You're working on the plantation. My son right now teaches. He's teaching on the plantation. But when he gets off work from teaching, those same children in those factories, those imperialist factories they call school, he's trying to organize those children. He's trying to organize the boys, the girls. He's working with them outside of the school system and trying to get them to understand their purpose on this planet. Now, if he went to work as a teacher and he went and taught them that curriculum, what they wanted them to teach them, and then he goes home and he just relaxes and he does whatever he does, he goes on about his life and he does nothing else, then you're part of the problem, bro. You're part of the problem, and this is not what we raised you to be. You're an example of what we believe our community is supposed to be like. And if you don't want to follow these philosophies, these theories that people have died for, then, like, what am I loving in you? Just because you shared what O plus positive, whatever, I should love you. It don't work that way. Our relationship is bigger than just blood. We're comrades. My son, my daughter, my wife, my friends, we are comrades. The people that I call my friends that I'm around, we are comrades. We invest together. We work together. We have the same enemy that's coming after us that we need to survive from. If you go on the other side and say you're working with the other side and that's where you're at, how can I love you? It makes no sense. Like, I raised you, you went to school, I put all this energy, all this thought, everything in you for you to go work for the other side.
So if your son was gay and he did all that stuff, would you still love him?
But what does gay have to do with political philosophy?
I'm just asking.
No.
I'm just wondering, would you penalize him even though he's doing the dotting the I's and crossing the T's?
No. I'm answering your question the long way around. I mean, I'm answering your question because like, you've been around them. You hear the stuff I be saying out of my mouth. I say it all the time. Our enemy is not homosexuality. Our enemy is not white people. Our enemy is not this. Our enemy is imperialism. We were all raised to be homophobic. I grew up in church. You was raised to be homophobic, not just in church, in hip hop, in mass media. Everything raised us to be homophobic. But after a while, once you get educated, once you start reading people like Mal, people like Malcolm, you understand all these things are not my problem. My real issue is imperialism. So you spend the rest of your life fighting your reactionary self into thinking like, yo, because they're gay, I hate that person. Yo, that's immature, that's ignorant. If my son was gay, yo, despite how I grew up, all the stuff that society tried to make me think, yo, I'm still going to love my son. But if you become a traitor to our liberation, yo, there's nothing you could do to make me love you. I cannot love you. It's not even in me for me to love a traitor. It's not. Because if that was the case, I would have been took the bag. I got 3 college degrees. I don't need to be sitting here broke with no pot to piss in the window to throw it out of. If I really didn't believe in what we was doing, I'll be out there trying to get the bag. I'll be out there with Ras Baraka. Can't nobody sell Ras Baraka like I could have sold Ras Baraka. I'm keeping it a buck with you. They don't know how to sell him. They don't know how to sell the moniker. Yo, they're stupid. They're inept. Yo, if I was in charge of their campaign, man, it'll be like Malcolm X Part 2 out here. And nobody will be able to even combat what I'm doing, what I'm saying, because they're not smart enough. They don't work hard enough. They couldn't compete with me. Yo, they try to take our pages down on social media. They try to get the police to come after me. They try to take us to court, do all of these things, and I have no money. I have nothing. They have all the money. Imagine if I had all the money. But I can't, because that's not what I learned. That's not who I am. So I can't. Even if I took their money, if I said today, like, man, I'm going to get this bag, take the money, yo, I'm going to wake up tomorrow sad. Because internally, there's going to be a conflict internally. Hey, yo, Andy, you had your hand up?
Yeah. This is a good discussion. I think that one thing I wanted to say is we have to understand what we are trying to do. What revolutionaries try to do is not the same as everybody else. It's not the same as getting a break from the system or working the system or selling something or any kind of thing like that. So that when Mao talks about the nature of a thing, he's talking about the nature of a revolution is to overcome the oppressor, is to liberate the people. Now, I'll give you one little metaphor. What I think about today is we don't have the bombs falling on us right this minute in Chicago or Newark. They have the bombs falling on them in Palestine, in the streets that Christ walked. Those places are being obliterated. I saw a video last night. These rescuers were going into this area that was scheduled to be bombed within minutes. They were bringing out the babies. They were taking the little babies out first, carrying them, running down the street, telling everybody to run, run, run. Then they went back for the old people, and the old people are hobbling along with a cane, and this one lady says, give us a break, kill us. Because it's like all their races run. Everything is being destroyed or scheduled to be destroyed. So it's the revolutionaries' job to go in and educate the people now before the bombs start falling on us. We are scheduled to be eliminated as a people. That's what all these prisons in El Salvador are all about. That's what all these deportations are about. That's what all this political theater is about. And we are not prepared. They have well-funded think tanks planning every move they make, and we have nothing but our own resources. And African patients have given us an opportunity to learn basically how to think. It's not a belief system. It's not like you got to say a catechism or something, or I believe in the world according to Marx. No, that's not the thing. We're learning how to think about the problems that we have to solve. And rather than relying on a system that's trying to kill us to solve our problems for us, which they will, they'll solve them by killing you.
All power to the people. I mean, cause this is a great conversation. And Basil, look, I don't want you not to ask questions or to say what's on your heart or
I
what's.
still love you. Don't worry about it. You spade a spade. It's no good.
Because I'm trying to say, like, I want you. I may be passionate in my reaction, in my answer, because like this how we talk in the hood. Like I really be real aggressive when we be outside in the hood. But like, what I really want you to understand is I want you to keep asking me them questions, because other people are thinking the same question that you're thinking. And if others have questions, this is the space where we're supposed to have these conversations and talk about them. Why I think the way I think. I mean, like, when you say the stuff about if my son was gay, you're not the first person to ask that question. And it's a real serious question, because we're all raised to be homophobic, to look at people's sexuality and really make a judgment on them. Like, that came from somewhere. And I fight those tendencies, all these things that I learned, even how to treat women, how to look at my woman, how to, like, all of that. I had to fight all of that. Like, looking at women as just property. I mean, like, I have to fight all of that. We have to fight that social conditioning. We have to fight it. But what I'm not going to fight is dealing with a collaborator, a traitor to his people. You're taking money, and you know that people are going to be made homeless, that people are going to be pushed in the streets. You know this company that's coming, this developer, they're coming in here to develop these buildings so they could push the tenants that are living in there, the ones that voted for you. They're going to push those tenants into the streets and try to look for tenants with more money for them to come in. And the tenants that voted for you, the people that you told, when I become mayor, you become mayor, you help push them people into the streets. And then you walk around, act like you are activist, you're doing for them, despite what the numbers and the data say. Yo, man, I don't care what you say. I can't mess with you like that. I can't support you. I can't support you. I don't care how black you are. You could be black and blue. I can't support you. You're a traitor to everything, to the legacy of the people that died for you to be here. I mean, so like what I was saying about Malcolm X's daughter, so they have this event, and they got Mark Lamont Hill, Fat Joe, Al Sharpton. These are not revolutionaries. Malcolm X did not die for these people to be up there talking about him on that stage. These are all the people that were there, the people that are in that room, that are represented in that room, are the people that killed Malcolm. Al Sharpton, his brand of whatever he does, he's a huckster, he's a fraud. These people, this intellectual group of people, this managerial Negroes are the reason why Malcolm is not here, why King is not here, why Patrice Lumumba dead, why Fred Hampton not here. Because they needed to kill those people and their ideas. So the idea of going to college, getting an education, and moving away from your community, going into becoming a cop, going into the military, working for the government, calling the government our government, voting. These ideas, these are all ideas pushed by the managerial sellouts that are in place now, in places of power on these platforms to speak. And let me play the video so you can hear it. The person that's narrating the video is Jared Ball. See, I have an issue with him too. Because even though he's going to narrate this video, listen to what he says in this video.
Hold on, Chairman. I wanted to tap in.
Oh, yo, bro, you were supposed to meet me at Sunday at the boxing thing. What happened?
I ain't know I was supposed to do that Sunday. We ain't talk about that.
This is the Queen, right?
Yeah.
Remember, I said Sunday I'm taking the kids to the gym. I mean to the park, because you said you wanted to come to the gym. So I said, nah, I'm taking them to Weekway Park.
You told me
Maybe
you was
it's
gonna call
not
me.
Sunday.
You told me you was gonna call me if you did.
I told you I was gonna call you if I did.
Yeah.
All right, well, shit, if you say that's what I said, I'll rock out with that. I hope you didn't forget what you wanted to say just now.
Yeah, of course not. So we was talking about the children not following their parents' exact path, and it got kind of sidetracked. And I wanted to throw out, like, there's families and there's like historically there's people who came here poor and they turned their families or their legacies around by forcing their kids not to follow their path or to follow different avenues. And even though it might not be like the path of the parent, like some people came here drug dealers, some people came here shoe shiners, some people came here artists or singers, and they did not want those paths for their children. They wanted other paths. Some of them made their children become lawyers or politicians. And it doesn't mean that they're traitors to the cause. The cause requires fighters and builders. It requires like different types of people on the front line, or it requires people in the back line also. Like it's a matrix of problems that we're dealing with. That's why I put systematic problems require systematic solutions. Like, because you're an activist, your son might have to become a politician to further your vision, or he might have to become like an attorney or even a policeman. Like I can't stand the police, but he might be able to become a figure in these different spaces that assist with our path and our mission. And it's not to go against the grain. It might to be to make the road smoother.
I got you. A policeman, politician, the systems that they participate in. We are trying to build separate systems from those systems. That is the empire. These are the people that we are at war with. So in everything that I'm telling you, everything I'm saying, I'm not saying like anybody out there that has kids. It's a whole bunch of people outside in the world that have kids. I am not saying that their children should follow their path, because I don't know those people. I don't know if they're revolutionaries. Malcolm X was a revolutionary. I am a revolutionary. And how we think, the path we follow, the philosophy that we follow, these are not just stuff that we just think about, just come out of nowhere. These are things that you have to study. These are things you have to study and understand and believe. If we study, understand, and believe, this is how we change our reality. It's crazy to have a child that you raised that goes into the enemy camp and does and works in their institution and become a cop in their system to serve them. That makes absolutely no sense at all. I'm not talking about somebody that came to this country, they were drug dealers, they whatever, that the kids should follow their path. I am talking about revolutionaries. That's a whole different segment of human being. Somebody that call themselves a revolutionary, they mean they want to transform this system. They don't like the way this system, this institution, all of them, they don't like the way it operates. So they're saying like, yo, the only solution from what we've studied, because the first duty of a revolutionary is to study. From what we studied is we have to create a whole different system. Not go into that system and try to fix it and try to see, because you cannot reform that system. That's why you are a revolutionary, because you want to bring about a new thing. To produce children that go work for that thing that you're trying to kill or get rid of is crazy. Do you understand me, Sequeen?
Partially.
What part don't you understand? Because I want you to get it clearly.
It's like when we trying to build our own nation, we need our own judges, we need our own lawyers, we need our own policemen, and we know what's not working for us. So it's like we have to. I don't want to say like adopt to refine, but like to refine these systems, don't we have to learn them?
We're not refining the system. We're not changing their system. That's their system. That's their police. Yo, we could police our community without joining the Newark Police Department. You don't need to join the Newark Police Department to police your community. All of those systems are their system. Those are not our systems. So we want to change that, and this is what I'm teaching. This is what Pantherism is teaching. You have to build your own institutions, your own systems, because their systems are corrupted, and there's nothing you could do to change their system, because it's their system. Do you understand that?
Yeah.
Not go inside of them and be like, I'm going to go run for office because I'm going to change how City Hall works. We're saying you can't change how City Hall works by running for mayor. It don't matter who runs. Even if I run, I can't change that system. They'll kill me before I even think of changing it because it's their system. You better off using your energy to build your own council meetings, to find out what the community needs, and then you fix it. Not go to the council meeting and ask them, how do you fix what's going on over there? Now, let me see. Right here.
Greetings, policemen.
Right here. Yo, that's our council meeting. That's the council meeting that we had in Plainfield. That's our comrade Jack in front of them, talking to them and asking the people in that community what they need. This is the beginning of it. This is like, what, 1 month into it? You'll give us 5 years of having these monthly. We're going to have more people at our council meetings than they have at City Hall. See, but you have to build these institutions. Nobody's going to build this for us. And by us doing this, by us serving the people, and they're coming to our council meetings, and we're helping them, more people are going to come. And then by more people coming, the other council meetings, City Hall, it dies on its own. You don't have to go over there and take it over to fix it, to reform it. It would die on its own because the people are over here. And look at this. Look, you see Jack talking? If I show you a video of the city council meeting at City Hall, they're all behind glass walls. They sit up on the benches on top of the people, and then they look down on the people and answer no questions. That's if they do show up. And then they get the police to come in there and lock you up. There's no police at our council meeting. It's only us and the people. Queen, you see what I'm talking about?
Yeah, I see it.
So now if I raise my son, because I'm sure Poppy was at this meeting. I think Poppy was here because I wasn't here. There go my son right there. My son is standing right there in the back with the T-shirt on. Now, if I raise my son and he's not at this council meeting, the People's Council meeting, and he's at City Hall, over at City Hall talking to them and asking them to do stuff, Queen, don't you think that would be some weird shit? Hello?
Yeah, I hear you.
No, but
so
don't you?
I think because you said that, like, Poppy is a good example. You said that he teaches during the day and then he does Pantherism at night. I think he would be more effective in another department or doing his old thing because he's a teacher. Like Poppy being in a meeting, Poppy's not there to say what he needs like everybody else is there to say what they need. Poppy there to address the solutions, and Jack is also there to address the solutions. So while Jack is addressing the solutions, Poppy could be working on like a curriculum or something like that. Though, like, I don't know how to do everything, but I know there's places that already do everything. So it's kind of hard to say, like, I would see Poppy weird for going to City Hall. I understand that there's certain resources that he could adopt from those people and then bring it back to the group.
From listening to you, I still don't think you understand me. The reason why these people are in this room right now, the reason why we're doing what we're doing in that room, because we believe City Hall is corrupt and there's nothing City Hall can do for the people. And if Poppy is a Panther, and he's my son, and I raised him, and he understands there's nothing City Hall can do for the people. There's nothing of value at City Hall. For him to be there, for him to be over, after we raised him in our home, to understand that City Hall will do nothing to help our people. Our liberation is not in no policy that they're going to pass over there. And he's over there. Then I failed. I failed as a father because then he doesn't understand what the revolution is. And he's not carrying the baton. He's not leading the way after I'm gone. He's basically still back there doing the same old thing that we've been doing for the last 100 years that hasn't worked. I mean, I don't know how to say it clearly. By and large, maybe it's my fault because I don't know how to explain it better. But this is what you was raised in, because we believe this is how we liberate, this is how we change our condition, and not just us. George Jackson, Malcolm, King, all of them. Before King died, he said he was scared he was bringing his people into a burning building. He was right. He was right. After the 60s, let's go from the 60s to now. How have we fared? Are we free? Do we have more freedoms? Or have everything gotten worse since 60 whatever, 67, 65, 60 whatever? Because they passed another one, I think in the 50s, another civil rights bill. All those civil rights bills have done nothing to change our material conditions. We're still catching hell. And so we're following the path that they have left. Like, we have to create our own institutions. And if he left and went to another institution and was part of their institution, he would be working for the empire. He would be working for the enemy. And there would be no need to even have no conversation with him. But like I said, the Malcolm X daughters, they had their event. And they brought these people to speak. So let me play, because we're going to be all day talking. This is, what's his name, man? This is Jared Ball. He does something down in Morgan. Hey, Berkeley, are you still here? Berkeley said he was here. Berkeley goes to
Yeah, stop calling on Berkeley.
You say what?
Stop calling on Berkeley.
What's his name?
I said just stop calling him. He never answers.
Oh, do you see him there?
No, I don't.
Chairman?
Yeah, yes.
Peace and blessings, brother Forrest.
I
have a gentleman sitting here, all right, and he represents the refile. He likes to know when do you have these meetings that will eventually evolve into city council meetings where we take care of business into the community. How often do you have them and where, brother?
Oh, okay. That we plan on having them here in Newark as well. But the one that you saw is in Plainfield. But we're planning on having it in Newark. We're in the stages of that. But it's about, like, we need more people. We need more people because people's time people doing too much already. But we're planning on bringing one in Newark probably in the next month and a half. I mean, but we having them right now in Plainfield. I'm gonna send you the information. General Secretary, do you have the information? Can you put in the group chat where they're gonna be at in Plainfield?
Yeah, but I can let y'all know that it's once a month. It's usually at the Iris House, but let's confirm before we give a location if it's gonna be at the Iris House again.
All power to the people. Most
I'll
likely
be in contact, family. Okay.
No,
it's the first Thursday of every month.
The first Thursday of every month?
Yeah, the first Thursday.
The Iris House. And like we're saying, it's about building our own institutions to serve us. If we can serve those people that come to those meetings and we can help them, it only help us grow. And like I just said, we don't have enough people. We're trying to bring people in to help facilitate, to do all this stuff. I mean, we want to find people to bring them in. But let me play this video. Like I said, this is Jared Ball. He said Morgan State. He teaches something down in Morgan State. I think media something. I mean, but he's the one that's narrating the video. Here we go.
Yeah, more should be said about this entire event. I did watch almost all of it, but I just want to show you these two excerpts relatively quickly to make, again, my point about why, among other things, I don't like museums, why popular representations of Malcolm X and others does not help our political understanding. It doesn't move us in directions that I think we need to be moved. And in many ways, these popular images, institutions, museums, media products, etc., end up testifying against the life's work of, in this case, Malcolm X, but the people involved. And when we're watching events like this, what should be seen as a confession is them bragging.
They're not confessing. They're bragging.
They're bragging at their ability to claim Malcolm X while in most ways, in many ways, exhibiting and inhabiting a very different political space.
And I am excited to see him in the building this evening, as so many extraordinary people are here to honor this.
That's Mark Lamont Hill. That's speaking right there. Now remember, this is the Malcolm X Center, whatever. It's in the hands of his children. His wife is gone. He's gone. It's in the hands of his children. And these are the people that they bring out to present, to be able to have an event. Mark Lamont Hill's politics are diametrically opposed to Malcolm X's. The teachings of Malcolm X, everything that Malcolm X believed in, Mark Lamont Hill, his politics, the person he is, what he does, how he lives his life, is diametrically opposed to Malcolm. This is blasphemy to even have somebody like this stand up there and speak about Malcolm. Like what do I mean by that? Malcolm said we must separate. We must build our own institutions. Mark Lamont Hill went to school, to these schools, graduated from these schools, and spent his whole career in the same institutions that Malcolm said we must separate from. He supports those institutions. He props those institutions up. That's how he makes his money, take care of himself, and his philosophy is limited to neoliberalism, to liberalism. The same liberalism that Malcolm told us is a problem.
This man, this legacy. But the person we're going to bring to the stage right now is a friend of the Shabazz family, a friend to black people. His name is Reverend Al Sharpton.
See that? So they use Malcolm X's name. They use his name to crown these Uncle Toms and these sellouts, these frauds, as friends to our communities. When in reality, these people have spent their entire lives serving the government and the people that killed Malcolm. That is what we're dealing with. And we have to be able to confront that. Remember, we was listening earlier. If you came earlier and you was listening to the audio, the mild audio, and he's saying everything going on what you call it, has to start from the inside. The contradiction must be on the inside first. So we're fighting imperialism. We're fighting white supremacy. How are we going to deal with the internal conflicts of people like this that say they speak for us, that push ideas and solutions that are counter to what we need to do to liberate ourselves, that are counter to everything that Malcolm believed in? How do we defeat imperialism if we don't defeat these people that they prop up to say speak for us? And I'm not just making claims to be making claims. I have audio tapes. I have audio of Al Sharpton shaking down on developers in Newark. And he's getting developing money in Newark. Getting developing money in Newark, hundreds of thousands, claiming he's doing work in Newark for the community, where those developers are getting those buildings at. And they telling him, the developers are giving them the money, and they tell them to give it to the community. And they say, no, that's not what the developers mean. The developers mean the money's supposed to go to them, and they decide what they do with the money. I have the audio. It's not something I'm just guessing, but why is Al Sharpton getting any money out of Newark, New Jersey from any developer? Because he has a relationship with the mayor. He has a relationship with the mayor. And he has a TV show. He's on MSNBC, and the mayor understands he's going to need to be on all those spaces. So they build these relationships, these shake-down relationships. So when the developer comes, the mayor says, you're going to have to work with a couple of groups in the community that's going to be doing stuff for the community. And then the mayor brings people like Al Sharpton, and Al Sharpton goes in there, and he gets the money from them. It's really money switching hands, favor for favor, washing each other's hands, while the people continue to suffer.
Chairman, in Newark, people don't know who Al Sharpton is. So we got to let them know who's the representative of Al Sharpton in Newark, which is Pastor Bartley, the one that owns the rec center on Hawthorne Avenue that sometimes rents it out to buns and basketballs and stuff like that. Those are the type of people we're dealing with. Those are the traders we're dealing with.
When you edit this, you put that Bunsen basketball on the side of it. You put Pastor Bartley face up there. And you show this people, because Pastor Bartley is who Al Sharpton used. Like, it's like a gang. Like, these people got this thing like a gang. Like, they got the shakedown people, the local shakedown people that they got in the community. So they take the money from the developers that the developers brought to try to help out the community. So the whole time the politicians is saying, yo, we're going to get the developers to put money into the community. But the money that they're putting is going into the pockets of the people that they're working with. The fake activists that they're working with. Because me, I'm working in the community. When the developer pull up, when they come down to have their little press, their photo ops, all of that stuff, yo, I'm walking up, tapping them on the shoulder. Like, hey, yo, bro, I be paying my money to do after-school programs to work with the kids in this community. You just came in and you got tax abatement, which means you don't have to pay no taxes. You basically almost getting this buildings for free. And those tax abatements you get, that's the taxes we've been paying. Yo, bro, why don't you kick up a little bit of bread so we could get an after-school program for these kids? Man, I give that money to Al Sharpton. Al Sharpton in charge of that. And then they go down, they get a floor in the building, and they put computers in there, but nobody's ever in there for years. There's nobody in there. For maybe like 1 month, maybe like here and there, somebody come in there, but the room just sits empty for years while their pockets is getting lined. But listen to what Al Sharpton say.
Please, give him a round of applause.
So you see, they use Mark Lamar Hill. He's supposed to be an academic. He's supposed to be this smart person. They use him to bring out Al Sharpton, and he's talking about friend of the black community. These people.
There's many contradictions I'm talking about. He had a relationship with Dr. Betty Shabazz, apparently. What are people like me supposed to say about this, despite the clear differences?
Like you hear Jared Ball, he's saying he's about to say the clear differences in the politics of Malcolm and Sharpton. What is somebody like him that knows history, that's supposed he thinks he's a revolutionary? What are people like him supposed to think about it? But I see you as dumb too, because Jared don't live in our community. He's not building institutions in the community. He's not helping the people in the community build institutions to liberate themselves. Like, all you doing is just talking. You're basically giving your opinion on what's going on, but you don't live in the community. You're not doing work in the community to serve the people in the community. Like, Jared will feel some type of way. If he heard this, he'll feel like I'm hating on him. But how is that hate? It's real. So go ahead. You talk about them. I'll talk about you.
In the politics between Malcolm and Dr. King.
Thank you very much.
Or rather, Malcolm and Al Sharpton.
Let me say, tonight is a personal celebration for me. Earlier today, I told...
It is a personal celebration for him, because he's able to cloak himself with the legacy of Malcolm, because those kids, that's what they sold it for. They sold the legacy of Malcolm to him. Hey, yo, you don't have General Secretary. Is the Fat Joe part up here too?
It should be. It's all on the same video.
All right. I mean, but the children sold the legacy of Malcolm to Al, because he's going to tell you why. Because people like myself, other organizations out there like myself, have been holding him accountable, calling these people traitors and frauds in our community. Yo, when they came to Jersey, I think 2 years ago, yo, we went out there and told them to leave, that we didn't want them in our community. And he understands that. And he understands black people really don't look at them as leaders. These are people that Adelson, all of these people, these are the people that they pay in our community. They keep us dumb, deaf, and blind. They pay these people. So Malcolm said we must separate and build our own institutions. They say go vote. Go vote for these politicians. Go get black cops. Go get cameras on the police. Do all these things. Become judges. Become all of this. And this is going to transform our reality, our material condition. Yo, it's been 60, 70 years of black folks doing that. And we've gotten worse. Things have gotten worse in our communities. We own less. Our children know less about themselves, who they are, where they come from, than they did 60, 70 years ago. Because we follow what these people have been saying. And these people are frauds and liars.
Yasa and Malik, that I grew up in the King movement. I was 13 when he was killed and became youth director of Operation Breadbasket here in New York.
He about to explain it. He was 13 when King was killed. He said he grew up in that, in the movement, and he worked for Operation Breadbasket. That's where, what's his name was at? That's where Jesse Jackson was at. Jesse Jackson was over there because King did not mess with Jesse Jackson like that. They didn't share the same political philosophy. So King has sent them to handle that part of the organization, with the work they were doing. You see, because they're not like us. They're not like Panthers. They don't follow our principle. Like, if he don't think like us, he can't be in our organization. If he doesn't think imperialism is the enemy, why are you in our organization? Why are you a Panther? If you don't think this is the enemy, if you don't think we should be building institutions, you shouldn't be here. But anyway, in what they were doing, the Christian organization, whatever that they put together, when King had a disagreement with whatever his name is, he put him over there to the breadbasket, and at 13 years old, what's his name was working there with Jesse Jackson. You see what I'm talking about? When they killed King, these people became in power, and this is the philosophy that he basically followed. That Jesse Jackson philosophy of trying to be president, trying to join imperialism, assimilation. This is where they have been. That's where he has been since he was 13 years old. Al Sharpton has never been a revolutionary, has never been on the revolutionary side. They have always been assimilationists. And Malcolm wasn't an assimilationist. Malcolm didn't believe you could assimilate into the system. So why is he up there talking? But you're about to find out.
So just quickly, that's wild, because for some of us who have had the privilege of speaking with folks who have known the King family, worked at the King Center, and who were deeply involved in these politics and histories, it's understood that Operation Breadbasket was, at least in part, a creation of or used by Dr. King as a place to deposit Jesse Jackson once it became clear that Jesse was not on the same political page and was more interested in...
Listen to that. The same political page. Not the same church, not the same color, the same hue, the same town, the same city. Political philosophy. They're not following the same path. Like, if it's sports, we playing football, we playing basketball, we playing man, and you playing the zone. You're not following what we doing over here. We believe in playing the man. We believe in playing man press, and you over there sitting in the zone in the back. You're waiting for 2-3. You got to go to the bench. So King sent Jesse Jackson to the bench, and that's where Sharpton came out of, from that bench. Sitting over there collecting pine on their butt, they made up their own thing like, yo, we're going to go join the other team. We're going to go join the other team. We're not going to fight for liberation. That's why they're still alive, and King is dead. Malcolm is dead.
A more liberal, black bourgeois, celebrity form of politics than was Dr. King. And remember, this is some of the tension that Douglas and Loggins point out in their work around Dr. King's radicalizing politics and the distance it created between him and those like Andy Young, where he, of course, had that shouting match saying, Andy, your problem is you're a capitalist and I'm not. So it makes sense.
Yo, and at the end of this, when you're doing this, I hope you remember, Secretary General, to put the clip of Dr. King when he was saying to boycott all these institutions and we need to create our own institutions. Because that's what King was saying. Right before they killed him, days before they killed him, King said he didn't believe in America no more. He didn't believe in American capitalism. He didn't believe in how they was moving. We needed to create our own institutions. He said boycott Wonder Bread, all them different people. We're going to need that. We put that clip in there. And these people, their political philosophy, the way they taught, was totally different from people like Al Sharpton. And people like Al Sharpton are the ones responsible for the production of how our people think now. Our people, the way our people think, the way our people, how we see each other. When you go outside in the world, yo, it's a whole bunch of individualism. There were people that were put in position of power to push those ideas down to the masses of the people. That's what Al Sharpton served as. Ben Crump, Fat Joe, all these people. That's what they serve as, to distill to us, the people, what the Sheldon Adelson of the world, Soros of the world, what all these billionaires want us to think. That is what their job has been, to filter down to each other, not to trust each other. Like, it doesn't matter how much facts you produce to somebody. They'll still come back and say, but this, but that. Because they inherently or have been socialized not to even listen to what you're saying. And that's why you're going to keep hearing me bring up institutions. Because I believe we could only change the children. We could only work from children up. Most adults, it's a wrap. They don't, even if everything you're saying is true, they're not listening because they got their own issues to deal with. They've been socialized their whole lives not to listen to you.
It's that Sharpton will be connected to that wing of what he's now describing as Dr. King's movement, because Dr. King has himself continued to suffer an abusive form of posthumous rebranding and liberal redefining, so that people with much more centrist politics and bourgeois politics like Sharpton and others gathered at this event could claim that legacy. So, of course, it stands to reason why, again, he would be claiming and suggesting that this event meant to commemorate Malcolm X is, for him, a celebration, when it should be, again, a confession, or understood as a confession.
They're not confessing. They're bragging. Several years later, as I began doing a lot of activism, I got a call from Dr. Betty Shabazz, who was a strong woman of dignity and of intellect. And no one...
You can't tell that from her kids. You see, and anybody want to say something. You can't tell that from the children that they raised, bro. I don't see no intellect. And why is she calling you? Your philosophy is diametrically different from her husband, from Malcolm. Why is she calling you? To talk about what? Al Sharpton has been proven was a spy for the feds. He worked for the feds as a spy. We have audio of the feds in the room with Malcolm trying to flip Malcolm. And Malcolm is telling them, what do I look like becoming a rat? He took it as an insult for them to even try to talk to him. Malcolm recorded them. People be like, why Africa record everything? I learned that from Malcolm. When I heard Malcolm recording them feds, I'm like, damn, that's a good idea. Because most of the time when I'm around people, they're always lying. They say one thing in front of my face, and then when they leave, they say something else. And I'm sure y'all heard them. If you in here, if you in this room right now, if you know Africa, you talk about, people be kicking my back in. Don't know me, don't be around me, just be kicking my back in because my politics don't fit with their politics. What are you calling him for? If I die, my wife is not calling Tariq Kenny. My wife is not calling Tariq Kenny talking about something. Yeah, let him talk. But Betty Shabazz, Malcolm's wife, called him. That's what he's saying. Jesus Christ, man.
And as we'll see, it was done so that Malcolm, in terms of American fiction and the very careful, surreptitious corruption of our popular culture and imagery, and in this case, radical imagination and memory, to redefine it along the lines as a mechanism to protect the black bourgeoisie and give it self-covering. Evolutionary Action Movement as organizations that Malcolm did not help found, that he would himself join. And it's important to remember that because it was part of that RAM strategy to have nation besides the Nation of Islam, perhaps as some sort of political Freudian struggle. But in the Muslim...
I can't find the spot. I tried to find the spot and left off on.
no one could in any way diminish her grace and her knowledge. She was working at the time at Medgar Evers College, and she told me, Al, I want you to come by my office. I came by. We were in the middle of some controversial case. And she said, your daughters are 3 and 4 years old now. I said, yeah. She said, they're going to have to go to school in a year or two. I said, yeah. She said, go over.
So he said she was working at Medgar Evers, and he came to her, to her office. So she worked at Medgar, I guess that's a school. That's Medgar Evers in New York, right? General Secretary?
Yes.
Yeah, so he comes over, because now the same institutions that Malcolm was saying we have to separate, that is where his wife is now working at. And then she calls him down for him to come down, and she tells him about, she asks him about his daughters. Let him finish.
The Johnson Preparatory School.
So the Johnson Preparatory School, like she's about to say, she's already paid for 2 years for him to send his children to the Johnson Preparatory School. This old bourgeois way of thinking, of sending their kids away to these private schools and stuff. I mean, like, this is what they do for their families.
Because, Chairman, they didn't build the Malcolm X school. They let the government kill her husband, and that's where their philosophy and party ended. She did not continue on his legacy. So she has nowhere to send anybody kids but to the enemy schools. And I don't know why he's bragging about that.
Yeah, because these people are assimilationists. They want to assimilate into empire, into white supremacy. They're not trying to build nothing for the people, nothing at all. And that's what they're talking about. And that's why he keeps saying they're not confessing their crimes. They're bragging. They're not confessing their crimes. Like everything that he's saying out of his mouth is counter to everything that Malcolm believed. Malcolm is looking at him in the back. Look at the picture. Malcolm looking like, what is he talking about?
I said, that's a private school. I can't afford that. She said, I paid for the first 2 years. She became their godmother. She said, Percy's son and others helped me with my daughters. I would sit many times, Ron Daniels, I was telling the Yasser and Malik this morning, Dr. Shabazz and I would go to Wilson's Chickens and Waffle and say we want a diet. And she would tell me stories. And she said, Al, you know, Malcolm, our house was bombed just a few days before he was killed. She said that we stayed at a neighbor's house. He stayed at the New York Hilton. That morning, somebody called his room and said, brother, your time has come. He parked the car way down Broadway and walked here, giving them every chance to do what they were going to do. She said, but they wanted to kill him in front of his family. I watched them stand over him and riddle his body and kill him. She said, but Malcolm was willing to die for what he believed in. And what we must understand is that you can shoot Malcolm, but you can't kill him.
He about to go into it. Malcolm was willing to die for what he believed in. Not them. Not his wife. None of them. They didn't come for them because they knew them people wasn't going to do nothing. They wasn't going to carry the legacy on. They came to kill Malcolm. And after they killed Malcolm, it was a wrap. It was a wrap. She didn't carry on his legacy. That's not what happened here. She became an institutionalist. She joined these institutions. And the product is her children. That's why they can have these people here. Just now, they just did a panning of the people that were in the audience. Yo, people, the average black person is not in there. The average black person catching hell out here in the slums is not in that space. That's all managerial Uncle Toms. And they portray themselves as if they're speaking for us. They're speaking for black people. And most of us fall for it. We fall for the banana in the tailpipe. We look at it and be like, we thinking like, yeah, this is black people. They're talking for us.
Sure, in this politics, it continues to be used
He
for
formed the Organization of Afro-American Unity. And many of us that had different divisions in the African American struggle should learn from Malcolm. Malcolm went to Selma, Alabama when Dr. King was in jail.
See, we can see what he's setting up here, but this is very slick, and this is, again, why it was a real privilege to be able to do that 100 Years of Malcolm series. Again, salute to Hiram and Ori for Hiram for not only his suggesting the idea, but then with Dr. Orasami Burton participating in the birthday celebration on May 19th edition of that series, where we could revisit Muhammad Ahmad's thesis about the Revolutionary Action Movement and be reminded again that this was the only other organization besides the Nation of Islam that Malcolm X actually joined. He formed the OAAU, though Sharpton struggles with the name there. Perhaps it's some sort of political Freudian struggle, but in the Muslim Mosque. But it was only the Nation of Islam and the Revolutionary Action Movement as organizations that Malcolm did not help found that he would himself join. And it's important to remember that because it was part of that RAM strategy to have Malcolm lead an overt radicalization of the political struggle for black liberation. And so it wasn't just some convenient, as we'll see, as Sharpton is setting up here, use of solidarity and unity to cover a black bourgeoisie. It was done so that Malcolm could link up with people in the movement like Dr. King, who himself was radicalizing, and further radicalize that effort so that what Ram and others were doing covertly would be able to take great.
Yeah, see, I don't know if we already in 2 hours already. Yo, it's a few stuff that I want to go through. I don't know if I want to, if everybody got the patience to sit here and listen to
shape
what he's saying
and give it.
Let me move it
women who had both watched their husbands be martyred, who into a way to.
He gave all of us pride. He gave all of us backbone. He gave all of us self-definition. He made universal our struggle. He went to Africa when it was not even liberated states there. He talked about the Bandung Conference when we didn't know where it was.
You knew what it was. The Bandung Conference was all the leaders and activists around the globe that went there to see how they're going to deal with white supremacy. Al Sharpton was not invited there. He couldn't go there. You couldn't, people like Al Sharpton, like that's not that on the space. It was for revolutionaries. But what Al is trying to do right now is saying that Malcolm X died so they can be. That's what they always say. That all these revolutionaries died that they can be. They died so you could be. You could be the traitor that the government put in place to oppress the people. They killed them. You helped them kill them. To kill our revolutionaries so you could change the direction of our people. That's what happened. Malcolm didn't agree with you. Malcolm didn't believe in people like you. When Malcolm said we should all fight on all different fronts, he was talking about people that were politically aligned, that had the same vision, as him, that were on the same political path. He wasn't talking about traitors. People that wanted to go assimilate into the government that are oppressing everybody else. They get paid, they get money, they eat, they become millionaires, their families go to private schools, while our kids out here going to these useless schools that don't teach them how to read. That's not what Malcolm was talking about. But if you listen,
my God, Chairman, that you say that leads me to Dawn Haynes, perfect example. Dawn Haynes sat on the school board and her kids went to a global studies high school. Her child is black, along with a bunch of other black students, were being discriminated against. She sat on the school board. There's something called a Creed report that they're supposed to give to the public. This report shows how North Public Schools have ignored complaints about harassment, racism, sexual assault, and all of that. She sat on that school board. They refused to release the report. She sat on that school board pretending that she was fighting for her daughter and the rest of the kids that were facing all these harms at that school. Her daughter, when she graduated, filed a lawsuit against North Public School Board. North Public School Board settled that lawsuit, and Dawn quietly resigned from the school board. She has yet to make a statement, but there are still kids in that high school that are still being treated badly. But her daughter and her got the money, and they're going with the wind.
But we wrote to them. We wrote them a whole thing, couple of pages paper to show them all the abuse that was going on in the community. We wrote it and we sent it to Dawn Hayes. Did nothing. None of the children that was getting abused at that school, at North Public Schools, nothing happened to them. But they cut her a check for her daughter getting abused. She sits on the school board. They cut her a check. Now she done retired. She done left the school board. She gone. They got their money and they gone. These are the people that our Sharptons of the world produce. The Ras Barakas of the world produce. Because she's on the Ras Baraka team. She's on the Ras Baraka team. I really wished I could play this whole thing so y'all could hear everything. But the time is kind of short, and I'm gonna try to move it on.
But again, this field in the work rally. So yeah, of course, if Jesus did that,
you don't even have the Fat Joe and all of them on here. You don't.
Popular
Because he calls up.
representations of.
You don't even have Ben Crump. Ben Crump is not even up here. Ben Crump is not even up here. But anyway, this is not even the whole video. All this stuff is annoying. But I can't even really make my point because I wanted to hear them speak for me to be able to make my point. But when you listen to Malcolm, I put Malcolm on, you're going to hear his entire philosophy wasn't about religion. He said, keep your religion at home. Malcolm said, keep your religion at home. Don't bring your religion here. We're here to talk about what we're dealing with as a people, what the enemy, our enemy. That's what we want to talk about. Keep your religion at home. I believe in fighting on all fronts, but everybody has to have the same political philosophy, have to believe in the same thing. In other words, this system ain't working. We got to create our own system. And if you don't believe that, we can't work together. You can't work with somebody that's working with the enemy. That makes absolutely no sense. Working to maintain the enemy's institutions. That makes absolutely no sense. Let me play a little bit of it.
Mr. Moderator, Reverend Clayton, brothers and sisters, friends, my religion is still Islam. I still credit Mr. Muhammad for what I know and what I am. He's the one who opened my eyes. At present, I'm the minister of the newly founded Muslim Mosque Incorporated, which has its offices in the Teresa Hotel right in the heart of Harlem. That's the Black Belt in New York City. And when we realize that Adam Clayton Powell is a Christian minister, he has the Abyssinia Baptist Church, but at the same time he's more famous for his political struggling. And Dr. King is a Christian minister from Atlanta, Georgia, but he's become more famous for being involved in the civil rights struggle. There's another in New York, Reverend Galamison. I don't know if he's a minister, here in Detroit. Famous for his fight in Brooklyn. Reverend Cleveland, right here, is a Christian minister, here in Detroit. He's the head of the Freedom Now Party. All of these are Christian ministers. All of these are Christian ministers, but they don't come to us as Christian ministers. They come to us as fighters in some other category. I'm a Muslim minister. The same as they are Christian ministers, I'm a Muslim minister. And I don't believe in fighting today in any one front, but on all fronts. In fact, I'm a black nationalist freedom fighter.
You heard him? I'm a black nationalist freedom fighter. Who you fighting freedom from? The same people Al Sharpton been working for since Malcolm died. The same institutions, the same people that he's been fighting for freedom for. I'm a black nationalist freedom fighter. That's what he said. He didn't say I was a Democrat, I was a Republican. He didn't say that. He said I'm a black nationalist freedom fighter. That's why they killed him. Because he wouldn't sell out. He was for building our own institutions.
Islam is my religion, but I believe my religion is my personal business. Governs my personal life, my personal morals, and my religious philosophy is personal between me and the God in whom I believe. Just as the religious philosophy of these others is between them and the God in whom they believe. And this is best this way. Were we to come out here discussing religion, we'd have too many differences from the outstart, and we could never get together. So today, though Islam is my religious philosophy, my political, economic, and social philosophy is black nationalism.
You hear that? You hear that? Political and everything is black nationalism. And he's about to explain to you what he means by that. So if this is his political philosophy, he wouldn't be rocking with no Al Sharpton. Al Sharpton is a Democrat. He's a liberal, a neoliberal. That is diametrically. There is a wide gap, a wide chasm between what he is and what Malcolm X was.
As I say, if we break up religion, we'll have differences, we'll have arguments, we'll never be able to get together. But if we keep our religion at home, keep our religion in the closet, keep our religion between ourselves and our God, but when we come out here, we have a fight that's common to all of us against the enemy who is common to all of us.
How is the enemy going to be common to all of us if people are working for them? If that's what they're trying to do. We sit down at the table trying to say what we're doing for our liberation, but they're dead to come up with solutions that are going to aid the people that we're fighting against. You can negotiate and work with those people.
The political philosophy of black nationalism only means that the black man should control the politics and the politicians in his own community. The time when white people can come in our community and get us to vote for them so that they can be our political leaders and tell us what to do and what not to do is long gone. By the same token, the time when that same white man, knowing that your eyes are too far open, can send another Negro into the community, get you and me to support him so he can use him to lead us astray, those days are long gone.
And that's where me and Malcolm separate. That's where I disagree with him at. They're still bringing them in. After they killed you, Malcolm, these people are now in and they've changed the whole trajectory of where we should be going as the people. In fact, in our communities, like you heard Malcolm in it, he said he's a black nationalist. Because our communities were by and large black. So back in the 50s, in the 40s, when Malcolm was growing up, in that time, in the material conditions, the way they were set there, his political philosophy was black nationalism. If he was here today, in our communities, we're not even the majority black people in New Jersey no more. We're not the majority black people in Atlanta. We're living in these communities, but we control nothing. And you heard Malcolm. He said his political philosophy, we control what's going on in our community. But the people that live here, we're not all black. So we're going to organize in our community. It's not all black people that we're going to get to organize. It's different people that live here. We're not the majority in our communities anymore. And
but not only that, Chairman, this is a class struggle.
Yeah. But like when he was dealing with it, when he was talking about it, they were still talking on from a racial perspective. That's where they was coming from a racial perspective. But now, like you see it, It was class then too, but now it's more glaring. And you have to adapt. As an activist, as a revolutionary, you have to adapt to the conditions that's outside. Our communities are not all black. Yo, my neighbor downstairs is my neighbor is Asian. I think she's from Vietnam. And then my neighbor upstairs, they white is white. I mean, so like this is the community we live in. It is not all black people, like all black people downstairs or down the street, the whole block, everything is covered. That's not how it is. We're in 2025. If you want to organize a community, you got to organize the people that are living in that community, in that said community. And that's what we do. So he said, black nationalism, that the black people control this stuff in there. I say Marxism, that the people, the working people, the poor people in that community control the economics in that community. That's what we preach as an organization. That's what we are preaching. That's where we stand at. And you could see how his philosophy and his way of thinking is diametrically opposed to Al Sharpton. Opposed. And Al Sharpton and them, because they're scared. They're scared people are waking up to their con game. They want to cloak themselves. They want to cloak themselves in the history and the legacy of people like Malcolm. And Malcolm's useless children let them do it. Useless. These people are garbage, man. Both families, Malcolm and... Go look at their families. These people are... None of them follow anything that Malcolm stood for. They don't. They're just disgusting people. I know he's turning over in his grave. I know he's ashamed of the kind of people that they've become. And if you're in the movement and you're raising children and they don't understand the philosophy or their purpose, you need to go do some more studying. But yeah, if anybody got something, talk to me. But other than that, we done for this week. I had to, speed up through it because I don't want to keep people here for like 3-4 hours. So we had to speed up through it. But if anybody got something,
moderator.
Your company still there? CEO, is your company still there?
Yes, sir. I'm listening, brother.
No, but ask your company, do they have anything they want to say?
Yeah, well, the brother had mentioned about the sister that was on the Board of Education, and he said that, she's a wonderful lady. She's real nice. She's for the people. I remember when she was over at the Refile, and she spoke at a Kwanzaa event, and she was, she was wonderful in her oratory, but now the brother is kind of baffled over here when you said that she got money for a settlement with her kids. I heard about that situation where they were the black kids were being called the N-word over there by the white and the Hispanic kids over there in North. So now when she gets the money, let me understand this, brother. She gets a check cut, and then now she retired from the board. But I try to explain to the brother that if she's for the people, she would not have retired. And if she got that money, then it's something that was due her behind the harassment that her children have received. So the brother's listening. Could you explain to him about the sister that, I forgot her last name, Deborah, whatever, used to be on the board?
Yeah, her name is Dawn Hayes. Yeah, her name is Dawn Hayes. Yeah, and she had the case. Dawn Hayes. Yeah, and she had the case with them for a couple of years. Like that, so I don't know all the particulars what happened with her daughter, what exactly they did to her daughter, but she went through the same racial treatment, abuse that the other children were going through. Because a lot of families were complaining. We even wrote, as an organization, we even wrote a complaint a few years ago, and we sent it in. It was one of the teachers was throwing food on the floor, and all the children was diving on the floor to try to get the candy and the cookies he was throwing on the floor. And we talked to him several times, like, this is not how you treat our children. Do not throw stuff on the floor. And he continuously did it. Like, that was one reason why we had wrote him up and sent it in. But they ignored all of that stuff. I mean, like, that wall. They got their own wall of sign and stuff that you can't penetrate through. But, yeah, who is Chris? Who is Chris? Chris Lovick. Chris, you want to say something, Chris? Going once, going twice. Hey, yo, that's the end of the show, man. Thank you for everybody for coming out, man. All power to the people. We'll reach out to everybody again next week. We'll be back same time. Like we gotta do a better job of like starting on time and coming on time. I want everybody to come on time so they could get the first part of the show too. But till next week, all power to the people. I live for the people. I die for the people.